But before, okay, so we're going to go over DocuSign Deluxe today. DocuSign Deluxe is not a program. I had a realtor ask me this in the last class, so we should probably think about changing that title. This is just going to be a class that's going to go over creating templates and mobile use, and also deeper integration into ZipForms, just so you can get everything out of this as much as possible.
Is this going to also carry over into DocuSign Plus? I mean, is it going to have the same type things that you're teaching us today? Because
yes,
okay.
Yes, and they're
eventually going to go to it. They had to kick off of it, and I think it was because of Explorer 11 or something.
Eventually, they'll get everything patched up. A lot of people get confused and concerned about the new DocuSign is because they always think that they're going to lose features. They're never going to kick off features. Now, you might have some things that were easy to get to that might become slightly more difficult, and then you might have things that were slightly difficult to get to before that might become easy. It's really more of an operating system change than it is a change to the entire program. They're giving it a new look and feel is essentially what they're doing. So anyway, I have some more school guides for y'all in front of you, obviously. And also, I want to let you know that a little story. I like to start all my presentations off with a story that's actually not even related to DocuSign, but anybody, everyone see the movie Rocky, right? Okay, awesome movie. But not many people know about the story behind the movie Rocky. And so this is why Sylvester Stallone should be taught to inspire, should be used to inspire kids to pursue their dreams. Have you ever wondered why he has such a unique expression? He was born paralyzed in the lower left part of his face. And so it's like a death rattle for an acting career. When he came to New York to be an actor, nobody wanted to hire him. At one point, he went 3 weeks sleeping at the New Jersey bus terminal since he was so broke. Since things got so bad, he had to sell his loyal companion, his dog, to a stranger for $25. He said it was the lowest point in his life. Then one day, he got an idea for a screenplay while watching a Muhammad Ali boxing match. He didn't sleep the whole weekend and banged out the script for Rocky in 3 days. Eventually, he found producers who offered him a chance. A man who's so broke, who sold his dog, they offered him $125,000 for the movie. But there was a catch. He couldn't act in it. He walked away. He was broke, but he had a dream to be an actor, so he still walked away. Weeks later, they offered him $325,000, but he still said no. Eventually, they let him act in the movie, but only paid him $35,000. Out of that, he immediately has spent $15,000 on tracking down and buying back his best friend, his dog. The dog is the one you see in the movie. Rocky made $200 million. So, point is, things get tough. And now, this isn't as hard as, banging out a script for Rocky and, sleeping on the streets of New Jersey. But the point is that, it's all about perspective. We think that this stuff is really difficult, and it probably is for people who are not used to it. But the great thing is we can learn it, and it's really not that bad in perspective. So, anyway, today what we're going to do is we're going to show you integration of ZipForms and DocuSign, creating templates, identify recipients using the security things that I showed y'all last time, address recipients, integrating Box.com. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a point in this presentation that we're going to go over. Does anybody here use Box.com? Okay, it's more of a KW thing, but a lot of agencies are starting to switch to it. So,
it's called what? Box.com?
Box.com.
Dropbox.
Similar to Dropbox, and basically it's the same principle. It's a cloud storage, but Box.com has what they've been able to do is, instead of just having Dropbox and you just get what you get, you can't change it. Box.com has started partnering with different real estate firms and started customizing that type of cloud drive for agents specifically. So it won't be long before I'm sure Raul will get a call from Box.com and he might consider it. But it's something that's coming along. It's kind of like Backagent. Everyone gets Backagent, but Backagent does a really good job of customizing that particular part of the program for different agencies, and that's what Box.com does, other than Dropbox, Google Drive, and all the other cloud storages. How to use the mobile site and how to use the iPad app as well is what we're going to go over. And they're actually very different. There's things that you can't do in the iPad app and vice versa. You know, there's limits on both of those. So, okay, so ZipForms integration. We went over this briefly last time. Go to ZipForms 6, type in your username and password, new transaction, options, e-sign, and then you sign into your DocuSign account. We did this last time. I just wanted to briefly go over, this is how you start the process of really integrating these two programs together. So there's nobody in there that hasn't done this yet, but. Okay, so e-sign, then choose sign, and then voila. Now, so choose the documents you wish to sign and enable all appropriate roles in the e-sign selection. These roles will be pulled over to DocuSign and can be removed or changed. Now, it's important to enable because this is going to allow you to really customize your templates once we get into DocuSign. So you can also choose to fill in the names and the email addresses here or on the next screen. I would leave it blank here because if you want to do your templates and you put email addresses in here, it's going to put those email addresses in the template. So you probably want to leave those blank. So you're going to choose modify and DocuSign. And this is nothing that we haven't done before. So contract with ZipForms with all the roles already assigned. Okay, your contract will be properly tagged. Auto tagged like we talked about. Okay, so before beginning a template for a document, know the answers to these questions. What are the roles of the recipients who will be signing? Example, buyer, seller, etc. You can't do a one-size-fits-all template, obviously. You need to know which one, who's signing what sheet. So you can't just go in there because if you do a buyer template and you try to get a seller to sign it, it's not gonna make sense. It's stating the obvious, I know. Does the template need a pre-standard message? And where in the document will recipients need to sign and add information? Setting up templates is just like setting up an individual envelope, and all the following information can be interchanged with how to start an envelope. Basically what it's saying is it's not a final draft. You can change things. So for example, I do mail outs, and I'm sure a lot of y'all get them. And you know what I'll do is I'll see somebody who's put up a new listing in MLS. And so I say, you know, hello, my name is, you know, and I'm sure a few of you have got them, but, you know, congratulations on your new listing in blank and blank. And I put the words blank in big caps so that I know, depending on the listing, what I need to change. So the point is that you're going to do that here. You know, if you want that pre-fit message whenever you're going to send it out, for example, Sissy Baylor, let's say, you know, get after, or, you know, I wouldn't say good afternoon. How are you doing? Just wanted to say congratulations on your new contract, blah, 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 blah. And then you would leave specific parts that you know that you're going to change depending on your client's name, depending on the listing address, or whatever it may be. So when you create a template, it's not permanent. You leave those spots, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You leave those spots, it's very easy, and then later on, whenever you're going through and you're customizing it per client, then you can do so. This is going to save you a lot of time. Okay, so in order to create a template, and I was talking with Frank earlier, he's having issues there, so I was going to show you this live. You're going to go to the Manage tab.
To the what?
The Manage tab. It's going to look different because the new DocuSign looks different. But you're going to go to the Manage tab, and you're going to see this little Create button with the little down arrow next to it, and you'll see Template. She's got it. She's got it. So that's something I would call DocuSign about. Do you have limits on your profile, or you shouldn't?
Sure don't think so.
Okay. Oh, well then you better not have limits on your. Okay. So anyway, but you know it's. So what you'll do is you'll actually go to the Manage tab, and it just looks different. It's the same thing. Manage tab, and click Create, that little down arrow, and you'll select Template. You'll give your template a name. Example, 1 to 4 family contract. You can also create a description for this template. So if there's anything that you want to put in this section that will remind you of what template you need to use per transaction, mental notes, whatever it may be, you can do so. And be specific, because there might be a 1 to 4 family contract template that you might want to create another one of that might have something slightly different. So the more detailed you are in your descriptions, whenever you go to choose those templates, you know exactly which one is the right choice.
So Dylan, in this example, a 1 to 4 family contract is an actual document. Is a template just one document, or can it be several documents?
It's several documents.
Okay.
So this one,
Depending upon the case?
depending upon the case, depending on whatever you choose. This template feature, it's really kind of,
I don't understand why, if it's 1 to 4, why there would be different templates for it.
I was just saying as an
What
example.
I was thinking, Sissy, is, in the Woodlands where we don't really have an HOA, it gets rolled into the taxes.
Yeah.
I might do one for, a Woodlands single-family
Right, I see what you're
residence.
saying.
Yes.
And one for outside where there generally is an HOA.
Yes.
And so you could just automatically check the box that says yes or no, and
But I thought when you're in ZipForms, you do all that template type
That's what I was
stuff.
just
That's where I do it.
Yeah.
I don't do it in DocuSign.
yeah.
When I go to DocuSign, I've already got my contract and everything ready. All I'm wanting to do is the signatures and making it easy that way. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think so.
No, this is the
I
way.
guess that's why I'm confused.
Right. I mean, I definitely understand your point. Basically, for times that you're not going to need to have a template, I understand your point. This is for times whenever you are going to need. So you're not going to be able to create a template for every scenario, because sometimes you're going to have that already provided. Does that make sense? So this is for times, like he's saying, whenever you're writing a contract or whatever it may be, whenever you do know that there's going to be specific scenarios that your template can actually meet, and you'll be able to meet those needs with your templates. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure it makes sense to me. In ZipForms, she's saying she has a template with a set of documents.
Right.
Okay, that will meet a certain scenario.
Correct.
Okay. Are you saying that DocuSign, you would do this when you're in a situation that doesn't match that scenario?
No, I'm saying this is taking that same scenario, and you can, okay, now I see y'all's point. Okay, so you can take that same exact template in ZipForms, roll it over into DocuSign, and then you'll have your email thing that we were talking about, your customized email template along with it, and you'll also be able to integrate DocuSign. This is just, you already use ZipForms, you already have your templates. This is rolling over those templates over into DocuSign so that you can do it straight from DocuSign and never have to go into ZipForms.
That makes sense.
Right,
That's what you failed to tell us.
right. Maybe I should have elaborated on that.
Yes.
Okay.
In other words, the contracts are going to be in DocuSign?
Yes.
Well, you need to tell us that.
Okay.
That kind of clears things up.
Okay. I sorry. I thought
I'll break it down.
I thought that was assumed. So this is okay. So, my bad. My bad. So anyway, and you'll see whenever we get to, maybe the next page might kind of clear things out. Okay, it won't be the next page. So next, you'll upload your document to the template. So you'll upload it from your computer or browse an online document, or it'll be you can upload it from Dropbox or ZipForms, and you'll be able to choose that so that it sticks in that template, so that you can just do it from DocuSign from here forward. Now, there's going to be times where you're going to have to go through ZipForms, and you're going to have to do it. But for the times that it applies, where you can do a 1 to 4 family, and you know it's going to meet all the criteria, you can just start in DocuSign. You won't have to go to ZipForms.
Okay, so if I do mine from ZipForms, I can send it to DocuSign.
Correct.
To sign,
Correct.
because I've got templates in there. And then I can also have templates here.
Correct.
And do my contract from there if it's always going to be the same and there's nothing that's going to change.
Correct.
The only question I have is when you get down to special provisions and you want to put stuff in there from this software, can you do that?
You can always add documents to your templates. So
She's saying, can you
What I'm
add a
saying, like
special
clauses.
text within a document? If she needs to write something about the drapes are staying,
Yeah,
Okay.
can she do that in DocuSign?
No, you'll have to do that in ZipForms.
okay, that's what I need to know.
Say, so so does that go true for the parties of the contract as well? Because there's not.
If you want to edit the, trying to think how to say this. Repeat that question again.
So if I've got the 1 to 4 family contract in DocuSign here, I can't just have people sign it. There's other things I need to fill in on that. I need to put in who's buying, who's selling,
Right.
the property itself, all those things. So in DocuSign, I mean, I use the little data field often, and I'm comfortable with it. But is that going to work? Is that how we're going to do it? You got to use the data field to enter in that information in DocuSign, or is there something additional that allows us to enter in?
I think you'll have to do that through ZipForms. I'm not sure though.
But the data, let me share with this, because I've not really used ZipForms at all.
Okay.
I have used DocuSign, and I think you can use a data field to put in a special provision.
Can you do that? I didn't know if that was allowed.
And you could do that in special provisions?
Well,
Mhm.
I think
Sure.
I've done that.
You
I
can
think-
write stuff
Okay.
in there, you can type it in.
Absolutely.
See, I thought you had to do it through ZipForms. Well, then if that's the case, then you can do it in DocuSign. You wouldn't have to do it.
I thought all it ever did was the initials and the signature and the date.
No, there's a data field. There is a data field, and I've used it in multiple applications. And you can set it up so that your client can fill something in. So if you need an email address or a phone number that wasn't there, you can put it in. You can put it in a data field and leave it blank, and when they go in, they can actually type it in.
Okay.
I don't really do that.
No, I would
because
not
that
let,
has a-
let them have
that has a
access to that special provision.
You know, and it's all, you know, you can tell it where to be, so that they can't just go anywhere on the contract and start writing stuff. But-
See, I didn't know
but
if you were
use it
allowed to do that.
myself. I
That's
use it
good to know.
myself
You use the
'Cause then you
special
could-
provisions.
Well, it's called the
No, you're
data
fine.
field.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you put it into special provisions is where you
Drag
put
it
it.
over.
Sometimes in special provisions, sometimes I use it to cross off, you know.
It's like a text
If
box.
somebody's divorced, but tax record still has
So it
the
is.
wife on or the husband on there, and I mean, I've used the data field to cross off a party of the contract. And I can show you how to do that.
Yeah, it's like adding a text box. You know, if you're doing Microsoft Word and you want to add a text box, that's all it is.
All right, let me ask you this, go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Well, my question is, what is the advantage of no longer using ZipForms, but switching to DocuSign to create a template?
It's a one-stop shop, saving you time.
But you were saying that we are creating our templates in ZipForm and then just importing them into DocuSign?
You can do it one of two ways. If you already, and that's what I was saying, if she already has a template, if she just wants to put it into DocuSign, then you can do that. But if you don't have a template and you want to create a template in DocuSign and you want to just pull multiple pages from ZipForms, you can do that too. But since she already has templates made, I was just showing her in that case, she could just pull that template over and make it all in DocuSign.
Okay, I'm going to raise another issue.
Go ahead.
I think one of the values of using ZipForms is that the documents are online, and we know that by going there, we're always going to have the latest approved forms.
Right.
As opposed to importing the form into DocuSign, where it's going to be a fixed document.
Right.
So there seems to be some value in creating your templates in ZipForms, and then each time you have a contract, pulling that into DocuSign.
Sure.
And then editing your fields.
Okay,
I don't
so
believe that, I don't think that the template stays updated when the forms change.
in
Well,
Docu.
your access to them, and you can
Right, you
cancel
can
it and
switch
pull
it
it
out.
back
So
in.
that's his point. If that worries you, then you can just create the template in DocuSign without the documents, and there is value to creating templates in DocuSign without the documents. You still have all of your email, your buyer, your sellers, all of that, those custom spots. So those are all pre-made, so you don't have to do all of those. And then at the beginning, you can just add the latest document.
So would you actually, under your buyer template, list the names of the documents to import?
I don't know if you can do that. I would think you could probably make a note to do that. I don't.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yes.
If you use that and you put the seller's name and the buyer's name up there, does it automatically hit everywhere where it's supposed to? Or do I have to retype the name again at the end where they sign?
Were you talking
I'm
about?
asking that.
Were you talking about putting your seller or your names?
Okay, if I type in my seller's name and the buyer's name,
Where at?
when it gets to the last page where they sign, is it
Okay.
automatically thrown in there?
So at the very top of page 1 on the 1 to 4 family residential
Yes.
contract, you enter in who the buyer is and who the seller is. What it then does, what ZipForms then does is auto-populate the buyer and the seller's name
Right.
everywhere the buyer and seller's name needs to be.
Right.
But there's also another thing there, Jim. There's 4 pages, and I can't remember if it's Trek or Tar or Har, but they each have a page where you can fill all this information in, the closing date, everything, and it throws it automatically into ZipForms, everything.
Well, I've never seen
And the
that.
only, oh yeah, I can show it to you.
That's cool.
And what you can do is, all you have to do is type in usually your special provisions.
Mhm.
Have you heard of that?
See, I'm pretty
Never
knowledgeable.
heard
I'm not familiar with
Where
that.
do you
I'll show it to you.
It's
You have to,
one of them.
you go to HAR, or go to TAR.
We're all learning today.
No, I'm learning too, so I'm glad y'all are bringing this stuff up.
Go to TAR, not HAR.
Go to TAR. Well, just go to.
We're going to go over it.
ZipForms.
That's going to be more of what this is
Go to
about,
ZipForms,
template creation in the
go
mobile.
to-
So,
Go to TAR, or go to Trek, I don't care which one, or HAR.
Well, I'm in ZipForms right here.
Okay, now,
You can, open up one of your.
your forms, go to your
transactions.
forms.
Okay, let's open a transaction. I'm opening a transaction right here.
And then she's saying to switch over from
Okay, now.
the
All
HAR
right.
documents to the TAR documents.
Yeah, okay, hit Houston Association. No, go up and hit Houston Association, right there.
Okay, so
All right.
go to HAR.
All right, now wait a minute. There should, go on, come on all the way down.
That's it.
I think it's in tar.
There's HAR.
Okay.
Go all the way down.
What are your documents there?
It's 'cause your computer's.
It's not in there. It's on mine.
Well,
He's in plus,
that's okay, it's supposed to be in there.
But y'all don't see it.
but it's in there. I've got it.
You think it's, you think
Let me
it's in
see.
the HAR documents?
Let me see. It's in both, it's in all 3 of them,
In
each
all
one.
3.
One has a 2-page, one has a 3-page, and one has a 4-page.
You can go to all.
No,
How about that?
that's the,
Well, does yours not go into
go on
categories?
down.
You're like numbers,
Single family.
See, she's in plus
Click
2.
on that.
How would you like this categorized?
No, that's your input sheet.
It's an input sheet.
That's where you measure the rooms and do all that stuff when you go out.
Oh.
It's not in plus, I got news for you. If you go to regular ZipForms, I'll show you.
Okay, let me go back to TAR and go into regular.
Hit this, that's it right there, hit that. There it is.
Okay,
Bring it up.
let's see where she got it. Did she go to?
She's in TAR.
There
She's
it
in-
is.
she's
That's
in the
what I'm
TAR
talking about.
documents, And if
Hit
you're
that thing, honey.
alphabetical, it's at the very top.
What is it called?
transaction cover sheet.
Yep.
They put a period in the front of it.
Now, let me tell you
which is
something, if
kinda
you
weird.
fill all those pages out, now I'll use the one that has 4 pages because I like it better. It gives me everything, it
That's
gives me
what
the
I
mortgage
chose.
company, everybody. You fill all that stuff out and it fills out just about everything you want except for the blocks you have to
Well, I
check.
tell you what, it used to for mine, it doesn't fill it all out anymore.
Well, mine does.
It picks and chooses, I don't know why it stopped doing all
Okay,
that.
I'm in TAR, Jim.
Go to the top. It was at the top.
I mean, that's the top.
it's pretty good.
Sort alpha maybe?
Were you in plus when we did that?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Okay.
She's in.
And which one were you in? Which
I went to,
HAR or TAR or what?
I went
This one.
in TAR.
Okay,
Huh?
so
TAR.
you sorted that how? By
It's
number?
by alphabet.
It says cover.
Yeah, mine's stored.
Well, so this time I did it by cover. See, for some reason, they put a period right in front of it,
There you go.
which throws it out of whack alphabetically.
But see that C over there, that means.
Oh, so that is it, it is the
And
first
it's
document.
it's in tar, har, and
Maybe that's why they did it.
one has a 2-page, one has a 3-page, and one has a 4-page. I use the 4-page.
So, I've never noticed that there are different ones.
Yeah, it has one in each one of the things.
Okay, so this is it right here.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Do you
start.
use the 2-page or what?
No, it's.
I'm looking over your shoulder, hope you don't
Yeah,
mind.
That's right.
So you start the transaction by opening this cover sheet.
Mm-hmm,
You enter all the data,
mm-hmm.
and then it auto-populates into what documents?
Any ones I want.
Anything you add to the transaction.
Oh, so you do this first, and then any document you pull in,
When I pull the contract in, I don't have to put the date in because I've already put the closing date in on that cover sheet. I fill everything out that is permanent that I can fill out on that form. Then I can hit buyer tenant thing, puts it in. I just hit the items that I want to put in there and it does just like this. It takes me more time to fill it out, but I'm through with all my items. Because I have my template there and I just hit my items and go through it. So what I'm saying is it's faster, then all I have to do is shoot in here and just have them initial it and sign it.
If you create your template in here and you have your email and all that stuff already populated, you only have to do that once.
See?
So,
okay, I'm trying to pull all this together in my mind, because I want to be able to duplicate this and teach it to our agents when we're all done. But what we're saying is, we start with this cover sheet
correct.
in ZipForms.
Yes.
Then,
If you do all that in ZipForms, once you pull it over in a DocuSign, it should already all be done.
okay, and how are we going to pull it into DocuSign?
The cover sheet. Will it pull over?
I'm not sure.
We don't need the cover.
You just needed the completed contract with all the information.
Right.
That'll pull over, but I don't think
see,
that.
here's the reason I say that about ZipForms is because I've got all the documents that I need for that contract, and I
Right.
make sure I've got them, okay?
Right.
Then I just hit them and it fills them in,
Right.
and that's all I have to do.
And then after you're done with that, you would click e-sign, modify in DocuSign, and it would just pull over all those completed documents, and you would just,
That's
yeah,
what I'm asking. If
Yeah.
it will do that, then I would go ahead and move it over from there.
right.
So in ZipForms, once you do that, you do your transaction, you pull in your documents, it populates all the data. Then what you're saying is, in ZipForms, you click e-sign,
Yes.
and then you have the option there to
Modify in DocuSign.
modify in DocuSign.
So that's by far the easiest way I've ever heard to fill out a contract. What you just said.
Thank you. I don't teach courses.
Yeah, it's
You should. I mean that's
That was brilliant.
that's now.
Get a writing
And I'm
sample.
gonna tell you something, it doesn't take me any time to do a contract. Once I get those 4 pages.
And all you're using is that cover sheet. It's a template. That's all it
That's
is.
exactly what I'm doing.
It's a template applying to documents, and then you're
I put
using
it
this program to apply the second part of your
And I put
template.
it in every template I have.
Yep. That's exactly what I would do if I were y'all. So,
Not real stupid. I
I'm going to
sometimes-
teach this tomorrow in Kingwood and just appear to be brilliant. I'll say I owe it all.
You're not gonna say where you learned it?
you're gonna pull a Steve Jobs. Yeah, I thought of this myself.
Okay, so
Class, let me tell you what I've learned. I was playing on the computer, and this is what I found out would make it
No, there
easier
are
for me.
templates previous to here.
I
So
recommend they
what
do
we
the
can do is we can
4-page
set
one
it
though,
up
but you don't have to, but you can put the title company in there and
We
everything.
can say, use template
Yeah.
for sellers.
see these screens later. I mean, are they online somewhere? or-
No, but I can give it to Frank. So I'll just go ahead and give it to Frank because I was gonna bring copies of this presentation on paper, but we were low on paper, so I couldn't. I'll just give it to Frank, and y'all can look at it that way.
If I had time to
Yeah,
deal
what
with
he's
this right
talking
now.
about right now.
Yes.
Makes sense to do it that way.
Right.
You know, I have time to sit in this class, then I'm gone, and y'all are probably the same way.
Especially
I'll be
with
able to
this.
start back to this.
Well, I got
Maybe
Sandra
get
copies
What's,
made.
and what's
So
cool about
one
that
step
is
I
we
wanna
can
make sure I
gather, we can
understand.
gather everybody's information.
you're creating an envelope first,
So especially
right?
when we're dealing
No,
with buyers,
I'm
suppliers
creating
that she
the-
will get.
in
cover sheet.
ZipForms.
There's a
I create,
contract for another.
I've got
We can gather their
On my template in ZipForms, I have my cover
Enter that in
sheet,
there.
every document that I need for a contract.
All we need is
And
the
what I'm
size of
saying
the
is,
petition, we can flush
I
it
do
in,
the
and then
insurance,
populate.
I do the flood, I do everything. My contract is almost 35 to 36 pages.
You're right.
To cover my behind.
Yes, there certainly is a way to print it. We can just-
So I form a template over here with that cover sheet and all the documents that I use to
We
do a
could-
1-4
we could
payment.
really
Okay.
just give this straight to the buyer.
Okay, so here's what I've got. Tell me if I'm.
All right, now let me say something else. While you doing that, once you do it, if you go in and fill some of those things out in that contract, like checking it will be negotiated, I check that. I check things that I know are always gonna be that way. Because I don't,
See, yeah, so
you know,
they
when
did
you
it
go
this
through
one
the
because it
contract, you
added
can
to
check
the
those
current
boxes
transaction.
and save
It's-
that
It's
template.
doing it in reverse.
Yes.
and then you don't have to worry about it
So it's,
again.
it's got the buyer's names in there, even though.
So
it
I
goes in
always
here,
check
it's
what,
taking-
and this is
it's
what he
taking
taught
those
me and I didn't know
contracts
it.
that are
What I will
already-
do is I'll do one that has HOA, and then I'll do a second template without the HOA.
Yes. Okay.
And then I don't
Let me
have.
take a look at what you see what you
It's
got.
already checked.
All right, I go to ZipForms, I select the TAR docs,
Correct.
I select the cover sheet.
Correct.
Complete all the data.
Correct.
I pull the docs in
Correct.
You don't have them in the templates, that's
and
right.
auto-populates.
Correct.
Then I select the template.
Correct.
And that's where, that's
Modify
where
in
this
DocuSign.
Correct.
makes it one step
Now,
further than-
before all this, you're going to want to create your templates in DocuSign so that whenever you pull it over, all of those recipients and routing, you'll have signer, agent, signer, or whatever you want to do. You'll already have those pre-listed. That's just an easy way to do it.
So my first step,
Before all this is creating your DocuSign template so that when you pull it over, you're ready to go.
okay.
Okay.
I
So,
want to ask you one more thing, Frank, while we're at it. There is a document that we have to put in there when we have a buyer. And
Yes.
it's,
yeah,
notice to whatever.
yes, yes.
I would love for this office to pay to be able to put that into ZipForms so it's not left out, because it's an important document, and the office, if I'm not mistaken, requires it.
What I'm thinking is when we let this guy go on with his presentation,
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's gonna be a way for us to save that in DocuSign. Cause I was thinking about the same thing, Sissy. I think there's gonna be a way for it to be a part of this template that he's talking about.
Okay.
At least I'm hoping,
Yeah.
because,
Because that,
So let's see,
if you
let's circle
forget.
back.
Yeah, huh?
Okay. Let's see if that's the
Yeah.
case, and then
I
we'll
got
circle
you.
back.
All right. So anyway, we're in our templates for DocuSign, and we've imported our documents successfully. Next, you'll add your signer roles. Now, this is important to do here because remember when you create a DocuSign envelope for the first time, this is empty. This is nothing here. Go ahead and do this, and then go ahead and for your agents, go ahead and give them their actions. That way, you don't have to do it. The only thing you have to do is enter the emails and the names. So, for example, the other agent may not need to sign, but you may want to choose them to receive a copy of the contract. You can just go ahead and add that here now so that you're not doing it for every transaction. So, okay. As a security measure, and this is what we're going to talk about briefly. As a security measure, DocuSign allows you to validate the identity of each person involved in a transaction. Remember I was talking about last time the nasty divorce or whatever you wanted to use it for. Anyway, so you can adjust these settings under the Identify column. You look here, and there's different types of identifiers. Here's a note. A few of the Identify options may come with a small fee, like 49 cents, I think was one of them, so it's worth it.
I don't understand what you mean by identify.
I'm going to show you. The message window allows you to commute. Wait, did it skip? No. I just saw that. Okay, basically what happens, it's in here. I know it's in here. I apologize. Give me just a second.
So we kind of got you off track. I apologize. But it's a learning deal.
We all learned something there.
Yeah.
That could.
Here it is. It's in here. So I'm going to go ahead and skip to it if you don't mind. Anyway, so the phone authentication option asks the recipient to type a phone number where they can be reached. They are then presented with a validation code from DocuSign, while the system calls the number they entered. So when you enter that number, it calls that person, and then they type in a number on their phone, and then it validates that that's the person signing the contract. So
Say that again, please.
okay, so here, when DocuSign, I'll call them. When they answer, the recipient will be prompted to enter the validation code DocuSign provided them and then speak their name. This is just one of the security protocols.
Now, how do you do that, though? How do you?
When I showed you back whenever you were looking at your buyer sheet, or all those, the buyer, the signers, the sellers, all that, on the right there was this identify column. You would click phone authorization, and then you would click the phone number, and then they will be presented with a phone call, and they'll have to type in a code that they've been given.
Now, how do they get the code? That's what I want to know.
The code, you give them.
Pardon?
You give them the code. Or basically, DocuSign provides them the code. The agent would say, hey, whenever you get this phone call, because when they go in to sign DocuSign, it's going to say you can't continue further without a code, the code that you've given them. DocuSign will call them, then they type it in.
Now, I'm giving them the code.
Correct.
Now, how does DocuSign know what the code is?
DocuSign's giving you the code.
Oh, they give me, and then I give them?
Yes, it's kind of, but you see the point, it creates a code so that it knows that that's the correct person signing. This is.
And that's a good idea. It is a good idea.
You'll
Not just
rarely
because
use
of
it.
Divorce case.
Well,
It's just a good idea.
It is. You'll probably rarely use it, just because there's not a huge need for it. But it is an option in DocuSign that I wanted to show you, because this is the guts of DocuSign. These are the features that no one really knows about that I wanted to show y'all. So I say in ASCII divorce, there's probably a couple other scenarios that you can think of where you'd want to use that.
They
So,
don't want the wife to know what they're doing.
well, there's that.
The wife to know what the husband is doing.
There's that too. So,
I mean, there are cases like that.
Oh,
I don't
there's-
want- I don't want my wife to know I'm buying this property.
Oh.
Keep it separate.
That'll last.
You know? I mean, it happens.
anyway, so
That's
we.
interesting. I didn't know you could.
Yep, so anyway, right there on the identify column, you'll see the identity check right there. You'll drop down that menu, and it'll be the phone authorization. So, anyway.
See, so right there, Denise, that's where the